Mình nhớ tham dự lên cơm này cho lên cơm này cho lên cơm này
để cho họ suy rồi có cả là tissue rồi
The power bên ngoài. Đeo lên một cái đeo thẳng
Okay, class. Good afternoon. Okay, for today, we will take a look at this particular topic, which encapsulates, alright, the idea of how marketing, alright, uses social media, right, in order to further its means of engaging with their customer. And we will also look at this particular notion, which is how do you plan, right? As marketers and as entrepreneurs or as business people, how do we plan for our social media-based marketing efforts? Right? In other words, we want to look at also the idea behind social media marketing planning. Right? These are the two major components that we want to look at for today. Right? So, okay, now for the outcome, alright, that we will be concentrating on this particular session is these three things, alright. Number one, we want to again look at we will redefine or relook or have a relook at what social media is all about, and we want to distinguish, alright. We want to see the differences, if you will, between what are social media tools and what are social media platforms. Now, the reason why we need to look at these particular differences is because sometimes we confuse between what are the tools and what are the platforms. And why do we need to know the differences between these two things? Number one, tools are specific channels that we use, whereby platforms are areas in which those particular tools are being used in order to showcase certain elements within our marketing effort. So as marketers, we must know, right, what are the different tools that you can use, what are the different platforms in which you can showcase your tools and the content that you want to put into your social media offering. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we'll also take a look at what are certain behavior, right, that is being shown by our consumer as well as the behavior of businesses or enterprises that led to a proliferation or led to a high level of acceptance of social media within marketing. Why do marketers, why do marketing in general often talk about use and essentially generate content through social media? What has led them to adopt social media as one of the channels for communication and one of the channels to realize their strategic ambition? Right? So that is number two. And number three, of course, we will try, if we have the time, and outline the elements of what a social media marketing plan is. If you are a marketer and you want to plan for your social media engagement, what will be the social media marketing plan and what are the content of that particular, or what is the content of that particular plan? Alright? So now let us go straight to the first outcome, alright, which is to have a relook again at what is social media and to see social media from a standpoint that is much more marketing centric rather than a general business point of view about, or enterprise point of view about what social media is. Previously, our outlook on social media is very much that of the enterprise, the whole business world and how it looks at social media. Now, we want to refocus our idea behind social media and to focus only on this one particular function, and an important function of that, which is the marketing function. Right? Seeing that most of you here are marketing students, not all of you. Alright? And even if you are not a marketing student, you must also realize by now that marketing is an important function within business. Right? It is a function which regularly generates revenue for almost every known businesses out there. Right? So the business of marketing is the business of everyone within the business. Right? It is not the responsibility of marketing. Why is it someone is hearing through the cabin? He is standing at the door. Okay? Come on, you can sit. Right? Okay, so now, what is social media? So you can define social media in many ways, right? One of the simplest ways to define is, of course, different forms of electronic communication through which users can create online communities to exchange information, ideas, messages, and other content, right? In other words, this particular definition is the same as the definitions that we have seen before. In other words, when we talk about social media, certain elements of social media still play a role. Number one, the idea of content. Okay, this is very important, right? In social media, the whole point of being engaged in this particular form of expression is to put out information, and that information can come in many forms, alright, and through many platforms as well, right? The forms of information that you can give out through social media include text, include audio, includes video, includes photos and pictures, right? Pictorials, infograms, whatever form. These are the things that we call as content, right? Number two, social media is also about the idea of using this particular content to communicate, okay? Meaning that the social factor is very important, right? And we have discussed at length about the social factors associated with social media, right? And both of these, the content and the social factors, what is it that brings social media or brings people together within social media? It is always the idea of shared interest. Okay? That is essentially what social media is all about. Right? So whenever you hear the word social media, right, this is essentially what it entails. Right? The idea of putting in content, communicating the content through the social fabrications that we see out there in the world, and through it, this particular content and communications that we are doing is identified through shared interests that we have amongst the member or the audiences within the social media outlet themselves. Okay? And within social media, there are categories of how we can go about and do all of these things. Right? These are the outlets that you can use in order to express yourself, either as individual or as organizations, be it profit or non-profit organizations. Alright? And the outlets include both the platform and the tool. Right? First is the platform. When we talk about the platform, we are referring to the technology that is involved within social media. What would be the technology that you use in order to propagate these things? Right? Your content, your communication, and the shared interest that you want to put out into the world. Right? And there are many different facets towards this particular technology. Right? Again, how do we define technology? If you were to remember one of the earlier lectures, we defined technology as something that enables us to do something. Right? Technology is an enabler. It can be as simple as this particular marker pen. It can be as complex as the internet. Right? And within what we call as social media, there are many different expressions of technology or enablers which allow us to put in content, communicate our content, and distinguish our shared interests. Right? Those technologies could include what? Could include number one, community building technology, such as Facebook. Right? It can also entail interactive type of technology, such as Twitter or what we call as micro-blogging. Alright? It can also talk about the idea of user-generated content type of platform, places like Pinterest, for example, right? Where you can put up certain content that you create yourself in order to inform other people about certain topics or certain level of interest. Right? So these are platforms, and different platforms entail different sort of engagement level with people. Right? When you talk about Facebook, for example, as a platform, Facebook is almost all-encompassing, isn't it? You can do almost anything that you want on Facebook right now. Especially now, you can share live events on Facebook. You can put in videos on Facebook. Right? You can put in text, right? On Facebook. You can put in pictures on Facebook. Right? So it is almost like an all-in-one type of platform. But certain other platforms, you don't have that much leeway in terms of the content that you want to put in. For example, in Twitter, still 140 characters for most people. Some organizations or some places in the world, that number of characters has been increased to 280 characters. It depends on the marketplace, and it depends on who you are as the user of Twitter. Right? But still limitation in terms of what the platform can be used for in terms of generating content. Okay. Next is the tool itself. Now, tool here refers to what enables you